Hey guys, welcome back to Wings of Fire First Impressions, where I share my thoughts and experiences as a first-time Wings of Fire reader. Not all heroes wear capes. One might just be a dragon that burns anything she touches. Without further ado, let's get started with today's talk about Book 8, Escaping Peril. Alright, now the first thing I want to highlight when I read this book was my genuine reaction to the part where, spoiler alert, Queen Glory's decapitated head was revealed in the early chapters. It was by far the most emotional I have been so far in the series. As soon as I read those final words of the second chapter, I threw my book down and I stood up from my chair with my hands covering my mouth. I was in genuine shock. I had to stop reading after that chapter since, well, it was getting late at night. So then I cried myself to sleep, knowing that my favorite Arc 1 character is dead. Now the thing is, right, I've never been so emotional over the previous Wings of Fire books I've read. There has been a good portion of messed up twists being revealed, and none of them made me as emotional as this. I was in legit tears. On that very evening, I realized I was attached to a fictional character, which was something I never thought would happen. Because, well, initially, I wasn't a bookworm, so this experience was totally unexpected. Next morning, I continued to read the following chapters, and I was relieved to discover that the head was fake, and that Queen Glory was thankfully still alive. That marks the first day I cried over a fictional character. From what I can see, it does say a lot about why Wings of Fire readers say this is their favorite arc. Because, well, it's an emotional roller coaster. It's thrilling, as Scarlet would say. And I'm convinced that this won't be the last time I'll cry over fictional dragons. One thing that makes this book very impactful is the lesson it teaches. When was the last time you've been kind to yourself? Sounds like a hard question for some people, including me. Now, when was the last time you wished you were someone else? It's a universal experience. You can ask anyone, and they'll mention at least one thing they would like to change about themselves. Whether it would be their appearance, their personality, or maybe their entire life, if it was very extreme. On the surface, it wouldn't be much of an issue. It only becomes a problem when it starts to affect the way they behave. It's by far one of the worst feelings anyone could ever experience. And it's not easy to get out of either. Recently, I have been in that exact state. For the most part, I felt stuck. And it's like I've lost all grip on my personal values. It was a period of trying to figure myself out, what I stood for, and the things I do that not only makes me happy, but also productive. On those days, I wished I had someone else's problems. The same way Peril wished, the other dragons wouldn't see her as a monster. She wanted to be a normal Skywing, not a dragon that burns anything she touches. The emotions felt by Peril did reflect on how I was. It's the feeling of not being good enough. It may be tempting to blame yourself for things that are realistically out of your control, but notice that when Peril finally accepted the fact that her fire scales was something she could never take away from herself, everything seemed to be getting better. Ex-Queen Scarlet is dead, so that nobody treats her like a weapon. And interestingly, the Skywings were dancing, as if their grumpy nature was never there. As if Peril was no longer a threat in their kingdom. Everything turned for the worst when Peril was under the influence of Chameleon's spell. Until it didn't. Despite entering the world and then immediately being used as a weapon, at the end, she still manages to become the good dragon she had always wanted to be. So from this, we could say that we shouldn't let others redefine who we are and who we want to be, because Peril didn't. Alright, that was pretty much all I want to say about Escaping Peril. I had to start these videos shorter, since 1, I think I rambled too much, and 2, it's pretty time consuming. Like, I'm not even joking, a 10-minute talking video will require around 35 minutes of raw voice recording, or maybe even 40 if I'm unlucky. Also, this marks the final book before Legends Darkstalker, the one that we've all been waiting for. I remember a few of you guys saying that reading Darkstalker will bring tears. Now, I'm an emotionally sensitive guy, so I'm really excited to see how this goes. Could my experience with Darkstalker possibly be worse than Glory's fake death? There's only one way to find out. With that being said, thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I wish you all a good day. Peace.